In this video, I want to talk about stretching. What is stretching? Why do we do it? And who should be doing it and how? Well, the good news is, in terms of who should be doing it, the answer is everybody. So this video applies directly to you. So stay tuned. Hi, my name's John, and thanks for checking out our channel. Here we look to help you understand your body, reduce your pain to ultimately achieve your goals. And today, in this video, I wanted to talk about one of my real passions, which is stretching, and specifically static stretching. Why is this so important? Well, the long-term negative effects of a result of a lack of stretching aren't something that necessarily happen instantly. Yes, it can lead to acute injury, but ultimately the real negative effects come when we have postural changes or muscle imbalances that ultimately result in pain. So it's vital that stretching is something that we're having as part of our everyday life program. So what is static stretching? Now, a static stretch is where we're looking to take a muscle from its resting length into an elongated position in order to ultimately, hopefully, increase the range of motion available from that muscle and increase its resting length. So, firstly, why are we doing this? Well, over time, what can happen to our muscles is that they start to reduce this range of motion. So if we imagine a muscle has a resting length of this long, if we're then looking to use that muscle repeatedly, over time, if we don't stretch it out, what can happen is that it can slowly start to shorten. And that can shorten and have a compounding effect. And what are the results of this muscle shortening? Well, what that can then do is be applying extra pressure onto the joint that muscle acts upon. And we see this in long-term postural changes. So if you imagine somebody working at a workstation, if they spend lots of time inputting information at a computer, they don't instantly get a problem, but over a period of time, those muscles shorten because they're being used in a certain position, and we start to develop things like rounded shoulders or flexed neck, overall postural changes that we know are going to have a negative impact upon our long-term health. Or if we imagine an elderly person, the typical elderly posture that you might be picturing right now is somebody with a hunched over posture. So what's happened there is these front muscles have started to shorten over a period of time. And unless we're stretching those muscles, because let's face it, we all like to spend a lot of time in our flex position, working at computers, reading documents. So what might happen, reading our phones, what might happen is that over time these muscles shorten, and then this compounding effect results in this postural change. And that then leads to a muscle imbalance with the muscles at the back becoming weaker and a long-term detriment to our health. So this is why it's so important that we are stretching so that ultimately, one, we're preventing the negative effects of the muscles becoming shorter, that resting length, but actually if we do it repeatedly, our muscles can become longer in terms of their resting length and a longer range of motion available to them. So our movements are much more comfortable. We're placing less pressure on the joints and ultimately getting more from our muscles so that we can do better in our everyday life in the things that we're looking to do. So this is why stretching is so important and you should be doing it. So some facts around stretching as well. Stretching shouldn't hurt. If you are taking your muscles into a stretch and it is causing you pain and it's uncomfortable to do, then that's not a beneficial stretch in my opinion. Why is that the case? Well, we want to think about what we're doing when we're doing a stretch. Now, how the stretching process works is that if we elongate those fibers, after a period of time, the message is sent to our brain from the receptors in those muscle fibers that they are being held in this lengthened position. So how does our brain respond? Well, it sends a message back to relax those muscle fibers because otherwise it will detect that there's going to be a problem and potential for injury. So what we want to be doing then is making sure that we are not creating a message to the brain that it's detecting an immediate danger and an immediate problem, because what it will to do then is protect quite quickly and actually stop those nice effects happening. So if you're going into a stretch and you're feeling that you're causing pain, your body's just going to prevent you from doing that and not get the long-term benefits. It's going to look to protect you too quickly. Instead, what you want to be doing is taking to that muscle into a lengthened position and holding that position for around 30 seconds. Now, 30 seconds is the magic number and the number I want you to take from this video, because after 30 seconds, what happens is that the brain activates what we call our stretch reflex. And what that looks to do is relax those muscle fibers and ultimately will allow you to increase the range of motion at those muscles. So do a test yourself. Pick a stretch that you like. Go into that stretch and see how it feels. Hold that stretch for 30 seconds and then afterwards repeat that stretch. You should find that you're able to stretch further on the second time of stretching because your brain has activated that stretch reflex. Now, in its one-time performance of that action, that can be quite limited in terms of that muscle will return to its original length. But the beauty of stretching comes when we repeat this process. So I often talk about little and often. So if you then perform that same stretching routine over a period of time every day, spending time 30 seconds on each muscle, what will happen is the compounding effect goes the other way and we get the positive effects of doing this. And by actually having a muscle that starts with this resting length, by stretching it every day, we start to increase the amount of motion available from that muscle. And not only are we negating or preventing negative effects that can happen over time of using muscles, but we're actually getting positive effects. And all those problems that we spoke about, putting more pressure on the joints, become less pressure on the joints. By being more susceptible to injury through short tight muscles, we're less susceptible to injury, and we can do more exercise, do more sport, and all the things that we're looking to achieve. So that's just a snippet into why we're doing what we're doing. Remember that you should be holding your stretches for 30 seconds. Everybody should be static stretching. I personally think it should become part of your everyday life. And by every day, I also mean everybody. So this applies to you. So if you're not stretching as part of your daily routine, factor it in now. And if you're looking for some more help and support about what you should be doing for stretching, we do have a free mobility program. This is a series of 4 classes where I go through a full lower limb stretching program. It takes about 5 to 10 minutes and it's something that can be performed each day. And at the start of the program, you also have a chance to test all of your flexibility. So what I would encourage you to do is sign up to that program. It's completely free of charge. The link's in the description below. Test your flexibility, your current lower limb flexibility. Embark upon that program. Take on the next 4 weeks doing the 4 classes where you stretch every day and the classes build in their intensity, and then retest and see how you feel. See that you have improved flexibility and see how it affects your everyday life. If you've done this, drop a comment in below. If you find this video to be helpful, if you're someone who thinks that stretching is going to help you and it's going to be important for others, then hit that like button because that will allow others to see this video and understand the benefits of stretching. And if you're somebody who likes our tips and wants to help your everyday health, well-being in order to achieve your sport and exercise goals, then make sure you subscribe because we'll keep you updated with more content just like this.